Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and this is going to be my review for Fargo. Yes, I did watch Fargo last night. I watched Fargo over Awkward, because you know what? I decided that Fargo's an hour. Awkward's only half an hour, so I decided to watch Fargo last night. So if you're wondering where my Awkward review was, it's simply that I did not have one. I watched Fargo over Awkward. Deal with it. This is going to be my review for Fargo, Season 1, Episode 4, Eating the Blame. And this episode was probably the first episode that was just okay. There wasn't too many things that were exciting till the very end. The very end, I liked the way they did the ending, but it was probably my least favorite episode so far. Not that it wasn't great, because it really was. It was great. It's still a great show. It really is. I mean, it had great performances as usual. There were just some scenes I thought that were a little bit boring, and there was a little bit more I wanted to see in this episode that we didn't get to see, so I'd say this was more like the quality of episode 2, which I really did love episode 2, but this was like episode 2, but a little bit more boring, so let's get to it. So the episode begins in 1987, and we see this guy, and it turns out it's a much younger Stavros, Stavros Milos, who is traveling with his wife and son in his car. He's down and out on his luck, and he's seeking new fortunes, and he soon discovers a briefcase full of cash, so we know what he was going to do with that, and I thought that was actually pretty cool, because we got to see this guy and everything, and I thought this was a new character, but then we see him in the present, and he's hiring Don Chumped, who is getting his pipes repaired, because, he had that blood shower, because he had that blood shower, and the plumber quotes the Bible, angers Stavros. While leaving the house, he notices a man watching the house. So Deputy Gus grimly runs into Lorne, who's spying on Stavros, who's spying on the Stavros house. Gus arrests Lorne, who continues to threaten his captor during the ride to the police station. So, Molly is still focused on Lester. She's informed by Gus about his arrest on Lorne. And honestly, there's no, separate plots here, because it's all really connecting together. So, yeah. Her efforts to visit Duluth get steamed by her still incredulous boss, Bill, who, Bill is still pretty clueless. He really is not a good guy. He's a good guy, but he's so clueless, and I don't understand why he was the one that was, replacing Vern, because he really is not good at it. So, by the way, Molly had a really funny moment in the episode where she was trying to look up some stuff about Lester, and all these porn links came up. That was hilarious. I thought that was probably one of the funniest parts of the episode, but, because she's just like, what the hell is going on here? Plus she's trying to cover up that she does have feelings for Gus. I think she does kind of have feelings for Gus. And she, was acting very nonchalant. I thought that was kind of funny. I am rooting for her and Gus, sort of. The Bill drives down to the police department to take a look at the suspect, and Lorne is actually let go, much to Gus's dismay and puzzlement, because, basically, it was surprising that Lorne got let go and that happened. I didn't think that was going to happen. They're questioning him constantly about things. They're heavily questioning him, and he's basically just being questioned all these things, and they let him go. I was just really surprised that they just let him go like that, but they did. And how do I feel about them letting him go? Honestly, I was a little surprised. I thought, the way this episode was going to go was we were going to see Lorne in prison, and then we were going to see Lester in prison, and then they were going to end up meeting up. I thought that's what was going to happen in this episode. That, unfortunately, did not happen, and I was a little pissed off by that, because I would have wanted to see something more than what we got. And not that what we got was bad, I wanted to see something more. And that's why this episode was just okay for me, because of what, because of Lorne just being released. I thought it just was kind of pointless that he was caught, because he was caught, and then nothing else happened after that with Lorne. It seemed that he just got away. So, I guess we'll have to see what happens in the next episode. So, yeah, now so, yeah, that was very surprising. So, Lester, at this point, he's still at his brother's house. Let's go to Lester, because Lester had some stuff to do in this episode. Lester is basically, he's still at his brother's house. You can definitely see he's very dark and everything. and he's again trying to pick at his wound and everything, which is disgusting. He then gets a call from Numbers, and Wrench, and he basically says, "Do you remember the deal we had and everything?" And he doesn't know what they're talking about, obviously. So what ends up happening is that Numbers and Wrench, they're talking, and I really like this next scene. It's in a diner, and because you know how Wrench is basically Wrench is deaf. Well, we have a really cool scene where they're actually interpreting it, and that really reminded me of Switched at Birth. I thought that scene was very well done, and it really reminded me of Switched at Birth, which I was really happy about, but he's interpreting, like, what he's saying for him with the sign language, and basically what he's saying is, we need to catch him, we need to do whatever we can to get the money from Lester, and that's what they decide to do. They get abducted by him, and he's thrown into the car, and he calls his brother Chaz for help, and he pretends to be playing a practical joke, and he's kind of like, well, I didn't know if I was captured or anything. I thought that was definitely a pretty funny scene when he was, like, on the phone, and he's like, well, I didn't know if I was captured or anything. However, I do think that whatever happened to me, it's pretty serious, you know. I thought that was pretty funny, but he does end up, so yeah, we don't really know what they're gonna do with him. They take him to the same place they had the that other guy. The other guy they thrown into the ice for Lorne. That's what they were gonna do to him. But he makes his escape. He notices Deputy Knudsen standing nearby. He punches the police officer in order to get arrested because he wants to get arrested at this point. So yeah, so we thought that he was actually okay, and that's what it seemed like happened in that part. But yeah. So then we get probably the weirdest scene in the episode. We see Stavros getting increasingly restless. He's very paranoid, and his supermarket store, Phoenix Farms, is soon under attack by literally a swarm of crickets. All these crickets literally we see one cricket, and he's just like, ew. And then he enters the store, and all of these crickets are near all the food and everything. I don't know if Lorne did this. I don't know if they just got there. I'm thinking this is another thing that Lorne did. Now, seriously, let's think about Lorne. How did you do the blood shower, and how could you have accomplished this? Seriously, Lorne is a genius, because I want to know how he does this, because literally, this is like, if Lorne did this, this is the ultimate practical joke, seriously. But Stavros' face is just, what is going on here? Like, seriously, he was like, what the fuck is going on here? I mean, I thought there was a very big scene, and probably the biggest scene in the episode was definitely that scene. I thought it was, I thought it was definitely interesting. So then, now, Gus meets up with Molly, and basically poses the same question was, do you know the human eye can see more shades of green than any other color? And Molly answers the affirmative Lorne's riddle as saying that humans needed to be alert and observant to detect the presence of predators amidst all the greenery present in the forest. So, definitely, I thought that whole thing was definitely really well. You can see that she still wants to find out the case, and she's still not finding out anything, so, yeah, whatever. But the last scene of the episode, we see that Lester's in jail, and guess who's also in jail with him? Numbers and Wrench. So yes, he's now stuck with these two who he didn't want to be stuck with. He wanted to be away from them, and now they're stuck with him. So I like the way they end the episode, but overall I thought the episode was a little bit boring because most of the episode is literally them literally focus a lot on Molly and Gus and Bill, who I have no problem with. I like them as characters. I think they're actually very good characters. I just would want to see a little bit more of Lorne and Lester. I had no problem with who they decided to focus on. I just wanted to see a little bit more of those characters. But let me talk about a couple other things I do want to say about this episode. Lawrence impersonates Frank Peterson, who is a minister from Baudette during the interrogation scene. He was pretending to be Frank Peterson, and I thought that was kind of funny the way they did that. I thought it was definitely really well done the way they did that. I enjoyed that scene overall. And this episode you know, as I said, it definitely was not as good as the first 3 episodes, because it was a little bit bland, you know, a little bit, just a little bit bland, and it's not like it was a terrible, terrible episode or anything. It's not like, oh, this episode, ugh, I hated it. It wasn't like that or anything. It was just more of, it was an okay episode, you know, it was one of those things. It was just an okay episode, and I didn't have any, like, huge problems with it or anything. I didn't like it as much as the other episodes. I thought the other episodes were definitely stronger. Is there anything I left out? I feel like there is. I feel like there's something I left out. Oh, what I do want to say is that I like that we did get into a little bit more of Stavros in this episode. Basically, he's only interested in money. That's the whole thing, is that he's only interested in money, and we saw in the beginning that he was very into his family and everything. And then when he found that briefcase, I think that kind of that broke his whole life, because now he's so obsessed with money that he doesn't give a shit about his family. He doesn't even mention them, and I think it's kind of sad. So I'm wondering what's going to happen there. Now that Lester is stuck with Numbers and Wrench, what's going to happen there? I do like that we do have some comedy in the show. I thought that scene in the restaurant with Numbers and Wrench, that was pretty funny, in my opinion. I thought that was well done. You know, I did think that was pretty funny. What else am I forgetting? I feel like there's something else I've forgotten. I can't think of it. Oh, right. Well, okay, I think that's pretty much it that I have to say about this episode, but the other thing I do want to say is that I thought, the Lester stuff was good. My only concern was that there wasn't enough thing for Lorne. It was literally just him being interrogated, and then he got out. Like, seriously, I thought that was really pointless and stupid, but, I mean, I do like that the show does have comedy in it. I like that, but I liked where it went in this episode. I thought it was definitely really well done. Was it as good as last week's? No, it was not as good as last week's, and I thought last week's was stronger. This one was definitely not as strong. However, it still was a very good episode. But that's it for my review. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you guys thought of this episode. I hear some people being kind of disappointed about this episode, and I can kind of see that. But that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be for the originals and Awkward. So I will see you guys for that. Bye.